Tick, tick, tick.
Okay, so we are recording and live streaming when you are ready, Mr. Chair.
30 seconds, Jen. Bingo. It's 11 o'clock. I'll call to order the Isabella County Board of Commissioners Finance and Administration Committee meeting to order. First item is approval of the agenda. Any changes?
Mr. Chair, I would like to move that we take item number 5, the consideration of approving the prime contract change order number 15 from Clark. Move it to an option for the chair to bring to the table at your will, depending on when we have our expert witness join us.
I'll support that. All right, it's been moved and supported to amend the agenda by giving the chair discretion on when to consider number 5 when the Heidi's present. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Sounds good. We do a call to the public. A lot of familiar faces out there.
Big weeks are here. Call to the public. Hurry. Get up here.
And we don't have anybody on.
There is not at this time, Mr. Chair.
We'll have an opportunity again at end of the committee meeting.
Okay.
So we'll move on to our first full-fledged item of business, number 4. It's presentation by Lisa Hoff from 44 North regarding the master administrative agreement between Advanced Benefit Solutions, Inc., otherwise known as 44 North, and Isabel County, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same. Morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I see we have your contract. You want to go through it for us?
Yes, but before we jump right into that, want to give just a quick update. I know that there's been some emails. There'll be some more formal news releases. But as you guys know, we've been part of the Acrisure family since 2017. And we will be going through some rebranding in the upcoming months. It really does not change anything. It changes probably our email will change, and our name will change from 44 North to Acrisure. But it still gives us the same access. The main thing and resources I utilize Acrisure partnership for is our compliance issues. So from time to time, we get those one-off questions like, hey, we're throwing this stone in the pond. We want to make sure we're jumping to the right conclusion on when to terminate coverage or what are good next steps, and just seeing, are there questions that we haven't thought of asking that compliance can help us through to make sure we keep everything in order. So really, there is going to be no felt change other than you'll see a different email address from me. And it's just really a rebranding, but also maximizing the Acrisure resources, namely to help when there are needs. So I can do a deeper dive into that if you'd like, but want to be sensitive to the time.
No, I don't have any questions on that change.
Okay, fabulous. Then on the master admin agreement, it is a 46-page document that really outlines the services that we do that are part of the bundle. So if there is a box marked, that is part of the bundle. There's a list of the fees. If a box is not marked, for example, you'll see there's a line that says health savings account. That's not marked because you guys don't have a qualified high deductible health plan to offer an HSA. So that's why that box is not marked. The reason years ago we moved to having a master admin agreement because part of our bundle, we layered in lots of services. And then we found out we really need to have a roadmap and an agreement because some groups, there were services they didn't need or want. So, for example, if you were to go to it's numbered page 2 at the bottom where it says vision services plans, you guys don't have a need for having this exam only vision benefit because you have part of your benefit offering to your employees a better vision benefit than the exam only. So there are certain things that aren't marked there. So kind of if we go through, and I'm not sure how, if you want me to go through every page, but I'll give you kind of an overview as to how to read the master admin agreement. So on page 1, you'll see the health reimbursement arrangement is marked. And then it is the second box underneath that saying that you'll utilize ABS to implement and administer the HRA plan. But what you won't see here are plan details. So you won't see where you're purchasing a $5,000 deductible plan and reimbursing it down to the 3 options A, B, and C. That's part of the plan document that's attached to the HRA. This document is just outlining the services 44 North is providing, what the cost is, what our responsibility is, and then what your responsibility is. So you can see right after the box where it says Health Reimbursement Arrangement Administration Addendum A, then that after page 12 goes into the addendums that relate back to each of these items. So you've got a premium only, premium conversion plan, often called a POP plan, section 125, which allows you to take pre-tax deductions, flex spending, we help administer that. COBRA, consumerism and pricing, that is your shopping program, your telemedicine through Teladoc. Again, vision's not marked, health savings accounts not marked. There's some self-funded and RX optimization things there that you don't utilize being fully insured on your medical. But then you can see your online benefits and IRS reporting, referring you to Addendum K, and that's going to be your bSwift portal that employees utilize for enrollment and open enrollment purposes. And then the online wellness services and healthcare pricing, that is going to be your health advocate. And we just found it necessary to kind of have a menu because some groups don't want to utilize certain services.
I would point out 44 North has reduced the bundled fee by about 25% recently for us.
Yep, and that is on, let's see here, page 12. Again, same, these boxes match up to the other boxes, but they're just summarized. So this is just the schedule, the Exhibit A fee schedule. So you got your annual fee, but then you've got your $29.50 bundle fee that was effective 10/1 of 23. And you can see as you go down, if boxes are marked and off to the right-hand side where it says bundle, means that there's not a separate fee for it. So there's not a separate fee for your flex spending account on a PEPM basis. Your COBRA, there's not a separate fee. Pricing, shopper, compliance. You can see under the Medicare Part D notifications, there is a separate fee for that. If we mail out those Medicare Part D notices, I think it's every year by, I think it's October 15th, you've got to send out Medicare Part D notices to each employee. And then on the next page, you'll see where your online bSwift HRAS reporting is through bSwift. It's not through Navigator, so Navigator box is not marked. You've got your online enrollment tool, ACA reporting module. So different things there, but you'll notice that the bundle fee is listed next to it.
Madam Administrator, is there anything you want to add to the conversation right now?
At this point, I just want to make it clear why this is coming forward. I don't know that Lisa's ever been in front of the board explaining this agreement.
No.
In the past, this agreement's always been executed by your administrator controller, including myself last year, maybe the year before. When we recently took a look at our health plan, this was one of the areas we scored pretty poorly in, right? We didn't understand our plan the best that we should, and certainly not to this level. So this is something that always happened behind the scenes in the past. It's now happening at the board table, as I think is appropriate. And Lisa, of course, is happy to do that. She just hadn't been asked to in the past. I did send the agreement to legal, and Tim Perrone has a few things that I'm gonna be talking to Lisa about, simple things about indemnification.
Perfect.
We just need to add a few words in about that. Nothing I think will change any substance of your services.
And I figured that because that was like on my closing notes here, I was like, because I know you work with legal on your side, and I was gonna say, hey, if you find something that you want modified, I've already asked prior to this meeting, knowing that it would come up, like, can they make modifications? They're like, absolutely. Absolutely. So let me know any of his recommended changes, modifications, and we will revamp this document.
Excellent. He just got back with me yesterday, Lisa. So
Fabulous.
I'll get those changes.
Oh, he's fast.
He is.
Thank you for doing this, because I've never known the background information on it, and I think it's important, even though it's like, maybe read this
It's a
before I
little
go to
dry.
bed.
It's a little dry
Yeah.
stuff.
Help me go to
but
sleep.
You need to know it.
I will say, anytime I've ever contacted 44 North with questions, I always get a very positive response. It may not get the information right away, but I get it within a 24-hour period, and I do appreciate that. And I think the employees that have questions appreciate that.
Well, appreciate that. Thank you.
I do want to say, Chairman Hope, I don't believe you were at the last insurance committee meeting.
I wasn't.
But I do want to say the group, all of us there that day, close to 10 of us, I would think, voted unanimously to recommend to the board that we continue with 44 North as our third-party administrator of health benefits going forward. We thought, yeah, it was unanimous. We feel like there might be some other changes coming in the insurance realm, and we want no one else next to us holding our hand but 44 North going through a change like that. No, we would very much recommend, please, to keep 44 North as we go forward.
Would you like to make the motion on that one?
Sure. Move to take this presentation by Lisa Hop from 44 North regarding the master administrative agreement between Advanced Benefit Solutions, Inc., doing business as 44 North in Isabella County, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same to our work session Tuesday night.
I'll support that.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It moves forward to our work session. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And because I'm new to this meeting, is this where I leave?
You are more than welcome.
No, I just didn't want to be rude. I'm like, I don't want to be like eavesdropping and stuff. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye.
You're welcome to stay, but
Okay. Thanks. I'll see you Tuesday night.
thank you, Lisa.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Our next item, we still don't have,
You do not have.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll move on to consider number 6. Consider approving the financial institutions as required by MCL 129.12 for the 2024 year. Steve.
There's where it's picking. Good morning.
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Had 2 experts on investing the county's money.
Well, one of them.
One expert, one wannabe, huh?
Just in case you don't have the list in front
Yeah.
of you.
Also have a.
Oh. Yes, sir.
Right, try to pull them together.
Oh, one's got a little writing on it.
Oh,
Maybe that's yours. I think that's the only difference.
okay.
Yeah.
Those. And final piece of the puzzle. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Yearly, we're required to come and get approval of the institutions that we use for investing. This list here is the list that we put together, that we use, that was approved prior. And I don't know if there's any big changes on it. In the past, the changes have been this bank, this bank acquired that bank and things. And the lineup above it says, you know, that they're affiliates and they're members. So if something happens during the year, ABC Bank buys EDF, then we're still covered. So these are the banks that, like I said, that we use. And institutions. We do have the credit union in there. We don't have any funds in there now, I
No.
don't believe, but
Just in case.
I want to assure you that these banks that we do, it's not just, hey, let's go do that. We have a rating system that our association put together. And plus the Bauer Financial and our ear to the grindstone on any problems that we hear from banks, like big banks or whatever. So we do a rating system on them. And if they have the positive rating, that's all these do, then we use them. So we've been very fortunate in the past. We haven't had any losses in any banks. So that's the list we're going to ask for approval today. I handed out a couple other sheets, and that's just maybe explain the situations, the operations that Kathleen goes through daily. With this sheet here, the first section of the sheets is the common account. And everybody that's in the common account is listed here. And it shows things that we have deposited. The back two pages are the CDs and things we're at.
Savings and investments
Savings and
by
investments.
fund.
Yeah. So this is the one that we adjust every day. And you'll see some negatives there in the right-hand column. And you'll always probably see negatives in there. Kathleen switches out. She'll go back into the savings portion of it and pull that amount out to make it a positive or to zero. We have a couple impressed accounts in here. Also that we do swap things in and out. I think a great big one here is like impressed payroll. It had a, 860 negative at the
Oh, that
beginning.
was Yeah, that was because we had a payroll on a Thursday
And then we had to
and it doesn't.
go back into savings and make it good. So that way our checks don't bounce on there. So it's a little bit complicated. I guess I can maybe go through one of them if you want. If we take a look at, let's pick on parks. Seems as she's here. Okay. Where did parks go here?
208.
208. You look under 208. Right at the top, we show that there's a negative $32,000 in the common account. And if you turn the page, when you go down about the middle section, and you look at 208, you'll see Parks and Rec, IBT, Parks Trust, IBT, and Parks MMA, MER, and the Parks CDs. So from those accounts, we will take, Kathleen will take and transfer that to make that a positive in the common. Like I said, so things don't bounce. The sheet that I passed out here is just the financial institutions. And what we have, according to Public Act 20, we have guidelines that we have to follow. We can't put all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. There are percentages that we have to keep under so that, as a protection for everybody. And the FDIC, insures the 250,000 per account or per ID number. And there's no way that with the $78 million that we have, invested in things that we can get. There's not that
Take a
many-
lot of account.
It's
A
not
lot of banks.
a lot of banks.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
a lot, isn't it?
That's the important part about the rating system and stuff that we're, assured on. And we do some things, or have in the past, where they have a thing called CDARS, which we can get here, which is established with other different banks. We do it from one bank but it's counts FDIC wise from another bank there, but we haven't done those in
In a
a
while.
little bit. The rates, sometimes you'll see big savings amounts in this listing. The savings accounts have matched pretty close to the CDs for interest rates, and you'll see our budgeting aspect of what we chose for interest earned is going to be a little bit higher. Going to be a lot higher
Yeah.
than what we chose because we went from a 1% to a 4 and 5%, which makes quite a bit of difference when you had
This
all
much
this kind of
money,
money. So, I mean, it's not a savior, but it's every little bit
I was
helps.
gonna say every little bit helps.
Yeah, is that because they came to us and said, let's raise it,
No.
Let's raise what?
the interest rate that we're paying you, or was it because?
Well, you want to know something? We had something at an institution that we had talked to, we talked, and they were very, very positive about putting us to be competitive,
Thank you for
Changing
making
their
the call.
yeah.
Those are real calls.
Yeah.
We review this, I can't believe we do this every day. I look at it on occasion and stuff. Or we have questions and the big thing for us is, like with administration, we talked about, we need some money. With cash flow,
Mhm.
because we try to invest these things, we try to ladder them so that we can have stuff coming due when we need to put it into spend things, and it's been a little bit, we've got some ones that we're close on
Mhm.
that, we may take a touch of a penalty possibly.
Withdraw early.
Because we got to pull early because of payments we're making now towards asbestos and things like that, but it's very key from the departments to let us know they got big projects coming.
Right, because you don't know when to ladder, when the.
Yeah, we want to know when they come due so that we don't have to take penalties and stuff on it. And I'm gonna tell you, the departments have been very good about it. It's just, rare occasion. I don't think we've ever taken a penalty
No.
yet, but,
This situation has really thrown a wrench into the whole
yeah,
process.
yeah, big wrenches make big problems,
Mhm.
but, the institution's been good with this and says.
The relationship has been very well, that if we go to them and say we need something a month earlier or whatnot, they say,
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Isabella Bank, who we do our main stuff through, it's just been wonderful for us. Mercantile's another one locally here that is, we try to keep it as local as we can, but we do have our limits, percentages and stuff, and we're very appreciative of, both those local institutions. It's helped us out a lot.
Great relationships.
Yeah, so if, we could put on the agenda to pass those institutions, we would continue with them, and by some reason, something comes up throughout the year that, hey, this pool group is giving, billions of dollars, big interest rates. We want in on the action. We'll come back to you and get approval for those as well.
Did you say some of these are impress accounts?
Yeah,
What's that
the
mean?
payroll impress account is, it's at, I don't know, we keep it at 5,000 or 0.
well, it's supposed to be zero. It's where you put the money in and then it's never gonna have a lot of money. You put it in and it goes back out.
Yeah.
Payroll, it all goes in and then it all gets paid out.
We don't want to have. a whole
Okay.
So
bunch of
you
money
don't
in
have
payroll.
money sitting there.
Just enough to make sure you're
Yeah,
not bouncing
yeah.
checks.
Right.
Okay.
So
I
it goes, it
heard
goes-
that term before.
Yeah, they, we'll do the payroll and it comes out to whatever it is.
Yeah,
And then we'll put the
you don't
money
want
in,
to keep
we'll
a
put the
huge amount
money
of
in
money in
there.
there.
They'll draw out of it as they cash their checks and then, we
Hmm.
keep it as impressed. We don't want, we don't want a bunch of money in there.
Right,
Not draw as
right.
much interest or whatever.
Yep.
We take it out of there, put it in CDs. But it's kind of an in and out account.
Yeah, so with your ear to the ground, what kind of interest rates are they gonna be holding firm, maybe increasing? or
Well,
going down?
the feds have talked a lot about dropping the rates on it, but
They putting it off.
they put it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. So, I mean, we're kind of at their mercy as well. You get that trickle down portion that when the feds drop theirs, everybody else drops theirs, but
Mhm.
After about 6 months, the
Yep.
rates start like a 6-month CD right now or out to a year. After that, they kind of start to level off or go down. So they don't want to give too much right now either too far out.
Too much risk.
But we don't go out that far anyway
Right.
because we don't.
You keep them short term in
Yep.
order to be able to get to them.
And if we see something that's gonna go longer, and we know that, we got, let's say a building project that's gonna be,
Mhm.
6 months or,
The road
longer.
commission has done that because they have the bond that they're paying on, so they know they're
Yeah.
not gonna pay on it for a while, so we've done some 1.5 to 2 year for them.
It's too easy for them to try to make a little money on
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, it's a lot better interest rate.
Yeah. man.
And that was like last year when rates were even that much higher. Closer to 5.75 or 5.5 then. Yeah.
That's good.
Any questions, comments?
Thank you for what you guys do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
You're
Campbell.
welcome.
I will move the consideration of approving the list of financial institutions as required by MCL 129.12 for the 2024 year to the work session next week. Support. Been moved and supported. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. It moves forward. Well, I was gonna ask any more discussion, but I missed it. Too late.
Missed our chance.
Miss Heidi has joined the Zoom.
Okay.
Chair has spoken. He cuts me right off. He knows when I'm going to talk. He just glosses right over it.
Well, now we're gonna move back to number 5, which is consider approving the prime contract change order number 15 with Clark Construction in the net amount of $87,543 and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same. Heidi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I apologize for being late. Thank you for working with us.
No problem. Senior project manager, Heidi.
Uh, Our PCCO number 15, the total amount of this prime contractor change order is $87,543. And this is all being taken out of buyout still. We still have not touched our contingency. We still have that in full and intact, so, which is good. So the items on this PCCO, first item, there's item number 63, which is adding additional cable tray for area B. We did need to add this for additional tray for the security lines, for the cable, all the card readers and stuff like that. And then we also needed to add dividers in there to separate all the cables coming through. And that was for $51,860. Our next item on the PCCO is item number, or PCO number 80. We had found some detail out there on site that where we did not have any smoke stop at the top of the wall. So with that, that was in area D, which area D is like the kitchen area. It was extended a little bit into area E, which is the electrical area. So it was a combination of the area there that needed some smoke that we didn't have or fire stopping for the smoke wall that we didn't have on the drawings. And that was an add of $29,210. The next item is the item number PCO 82. The sectional door, which is the overhead door at the loading dock. On the drawings, there was no power shown to that. So adding that power then was the $4,659. And then the next item on our list here is PCO 98, which is the property storage. It's metal pipe, basically what the sheriff is having their people do when someone comes into the jail, or that all their personal belongings will be held or in a bag and then hung on this pipe storage. On the drawings, there was nothing called out for painting, or if it was just going to be just plain steel. It was requested to be painted, so that's additional $491. And then the last item is PCO 107. That was at the Sally Port. So the two overhead doors at the Sally Port, we had a metal angle there at the opening. And that angle was out about 1.5 inches extended out into the face of the exterior. But we had to cut that off in order for that metal panel to sit flush. So otherwise it wouldn't work. So it was just a detail missed on the drawings there with it affects the metal panels. So that was to cut that off on both Sally Port entrances. It was the $1,323. So that takes us to a total of $87,543. Is there any questions?
These are buyout at,
I didn't have it up. Sorry. Let me bring it up here real quick.
312, 106.
here it is, yeah. Are there questions on change orders?
None for me, no.
Nope.
No.
Okay. And you found the amount? Sorry, I just got it open. Of the remaining buyout.
I just had to flip your report over.
Yeah,
It was
last
there.
page.
Okay. Okay. You got it. All right. Great. I was hoping you found it. Sorry, I rushed to get from our meeting to this one. So,
We're good.
Thank you, Heidi. That's why I always ask for the log, and it's always in the back, it's always the back page. It looks like over $1 million still between contingency and remaining buyout, just over $1 million left
that is correct.
Yeah, we're,
with over 50%
yes,
completion.
that's a big thing.
Yep.
It's not complete.
It's-
I'm good.
Would you like to make the motion?
Sure. I move that we take consideration to approve the prime contract change order number 15 with Clark Construction in the net additional amount of $87,543. And authorize the board chairperson to sign the same to our work session Tuesday night.
Support. Been moved and supported to take the prime change order number 15 to the work session. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It moves forward. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you,
Thank
Heidi.
you.
Number 7. Consider approving the grant agreement between the State of Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs in Isabella County in the amount of $6,626 for Michigan Medical Marijuana Act education and outreach, and authorize the county administrator controller to sign the same.
So this is generally one of those things we do annually. It used to be the sheriff's department, sheriff's office used to handle this grant, but since the passage of the regulation and taxation of Marijuana Act, these funds could no longer be used for law enforcement purposes once marijuana became legal. So since that time, administration has taken over the grant. We've done, first couple of years, we did a couple of seminars. We had an attorney come in and talk on it. We've got that recorded for posterity if anyone ever needs it. And we decided a couple of years ago to go a different route. And we bought lockable medication boxes with the dollars and passed them out at the county youth and farm fair. Fantastically received and Veterans Affairs, our VSO Ian Welch handed those out at the booth at the fair, very well received. So we decided that's what we would do again with our monies. We only have about half of the dollars that we used to. These dollars come from the medical marijuana registration cards. So if you think about it, once marijuana became legal, then the medical marijuana cards, I think those registrations kind of died off. But I think that's leveled out. So we're looking at just over 6,600 available to us. The reason I'm signatory is because I was the one that signed the application to the state, so when they sent the agreement that's attached here, they put it in my name, it's an electronic signature type of thing, so it was, I asked Chair Hope if he was okay with that, and he was fine with bringing it forward. I imagine having the state change the signatory is not an easy
Yeah.
feat. I think that took months the last time we asked them to do that
Really?
on this, for a matter of $6,600 and
No.
yeah, exactly. So
It's all yours.
are there any questions about the dollars?
What is it
or
you're gonna be
they're
giving
used
away?
for?
Is it a Sharps receiving container?
Nope, there, my apologies, there's not a picture of one. It's a medication lockbox, and to me, it looks like
Okay.
a little cash box, if you ever had a yard sale or something.
Mhm.
It just like a little lockable box that,
So rather than just leaving them in the medicine cabinet where everybody has access to them, you can lock up your more dangerous
you got it.
hazardous
You
material.
got it, and the whole point is keeping it out of the hands of children, especially as these new products are a lot more attractive to them than maybe the
Yeah.
traditional.
It's a great idea, and the mental health people will tell you that kids get started on drugs by stealing a pill or two from grandma's medicine cabinet or whatever.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
That's sad.
My son would steal my alcohol and water down my booze.
No.
So I wouldn't know the
Who
level
hasn't-
had changed.
Who hasn't done that?
I had drink PBR.
I'm looking at you, Director
No
Hanson.
child would dare steal it out of the fridge.
She was, I can see, look at how red Director Hanson is over here. Boy, oh boy, man, somebody called her right out. Oh my God.
Guilty, oh my.
Just for transparency,
Don't
this
ever lie,
kid,
ma'am.
this kid now teaches high school science and he's very critical of the teens coming up, so he's seen
That's how it
change.
goes. Oh, I love it, love it. So we will use the entire amount of the grant to buy those lock boxes, that we're not taking any off the top for admin or
Okay.
anything like that, so hoping to do some good.
Awesome.
I will move the consideration approving the grant agreement between the state of Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs and Isabella County in the amount of $6,626 for Michigan Medical Marijuana Act Education and Outreach to the work session next Tuesday. Been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
I'd just like to say it might be a good opportunity to do a little press release. Hey,
Yeah.
county's doing
Yes.
this with our grant money for the medical marijuana.
We could use
Absolutely,
positive that we can get.
Yes.
Maybe even one more comment then. We have the Isabella Substance Awareness Coalition, and they get grant monies for these type of things too. And
Reach out to them.
it may pay just to coordinate with them or let them know, so we're not duplicating or.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think we just got a big grant for something. I can't remember what it was. I attended the last meeting, but.
Good.
So it's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. It moves forward. Number 8, discussion regarding the hiring procedures, practices within the personnel manual for non-represented employees.
So if you remember, this was brought up by Commissioner Engler. I think he came and spoke to you 2 weeks ago. And that came from the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee meeting earlier that morning, where Director Newport had made some public comment prior to Tom Hausman's issue about hiring at a rate higher than start. Thank you to Commissioner Swaney, who reached out yesterday when he saw the agendas and said, hey, you missed this. So we did add that discussion back to not only your agenda this morning, but also criminal justice. So they did have that discussion this morning. We've got in your packet, the one page in question. I've got the whole personnel manual here if we need to reference any other sections, but we didn't want to print all that out for
Yeah.
Yes, so what really just in question is that hiring rate. Still, we talked about this morning in criminal justice that if there's a reclassification request, that still comes to the board, right? If you're over budget, that still comes to the board for approval, right? Those type of things aren't changing. All we're doing is saying the authority to hire at more than that start rate, because clearly this last sentence of policy in that paragraph says that authority is vested with the Board of Commissioners upon recommendation from Administrator Controller, which as we saw, some departments do come to admin and work with admin, some do come to the board without doing that. So I don't know that we're necessarily following policy as it is anyway, but the first part of this paragraph wouldn't change, right? We're not looking at changing that whole first part is about someone who has more than the minimum qualifications for a position can be brought in at a higher than that start rate. So I'm going to read to you what the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee came up with as just a starting point for discussion of what they thought that last sentence should read about the authority. So it would read like this: the authority to compensate newly hired employees at a rate different than the minimum of the pay range shall be vested with the department head or elected official. The administrator controller shall be informed in a timely manner and have the right to refuse the agreement.
First right of refusal.
Basically, yes. Instead of that it has to be approval of the administrator controller, they have to be informed and they can say no, but it's not, it's the same thing, I suppose. It's just a nicer way maybe to say it.
This thoroughly satisfies the Swaney principle that we've been trying to work under, trying to become more nimble.
I've been thinking about this and I'm thinking, why do we have steps then in our classification? I mean, the tendency for somebody to hire is if you got two people that can do the job, but one of them is just starting, maybe doesn't have all the skills, and you got somebody that can dynamite, just come right in there. Your tendency is always to be hiring that person. And why do we have the steps then?
Well, we'd have no other way to offer. I mean, we'd only have one wage to offer then, right?
So-
There'd be no wiggle room or negotiating
It's a starting
to
point.
attract that.
You bring
Right.
somebody in at a higher pay. If you have enough staff, what do you say to the other person that maybe started at lower rate and thinks I should be entitled to that? I'm just wondering if this doesn't open up a.
Well, I would say, I think that's a known thing
Some
among
additional
our
costs.
department heads and elected officials. I don't know about the cost so much, but certainly that's something that a department head or elected official is gonna have the most knowledge about in their department. And they're gonna have to understand those nuances, right? They're gonna know they can't put Bobby in at the top if Susie's been there for 2 years here. I mean, that,
And ultimately,
or they could.
it's their situation to work through.
Yes, and they're gonna know
That's
it
their
better.
job, in my opinion.
Yes.
So if I have that situation, if I'm in that position and I have this situation, it's my responsibility to figure out how to make it work. If I want to do that, if I want to give this person this and this person makes this, well, I've got to make that work. That's my job. That shouldn't be we shouldn't get into that. That should be, right, that should be theirs responsibility. If they can't do that, they can't work that out, well, that's another conversation.
So another issue, you can see, I'm kind of thinking that I'd be opposed to this. Another thing is you have people that are coming in and you're starting them 2 or 3 pays up. And they're coming in for the pay, they're gonna be here a year or 2 and then they're out the door because they can use that for their next employment. What, you have people that maybe overqualified coming in, getting a higher pay. I don't know.
Using it as a stepping stone, in other words.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if we go with this, most of the people are gonna be hired in, are gonna be hired in higher than the classification requirements.
I think only if they're well qualified.
That part of it isn't changing.
Right, that's,
Mhm.
right. And two, you have the right of first refusal. We put the onus on Madam Administrator, to stay on top of this. Okay, so if she's just nilly-willy signing off on all these pay
The budget-
raises
the budget
and,
will-
okay.
The budget will show that.
I'm coming to her. Okay, again, well, I understand we want to have we have a responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility, control spending. I'm okay with sharing it as long as we have right of first refusal and we have folks that we place our faith in. I mean, to me, if I don't have faith in them to do this correctly, man, alive, we got the wrong people in the wrong spots, okay? In my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're gonna lose out on some good candidates if you can't pay them more than the starting wage, somebody with a lot of experience.
Okay,
At
so
what cost? Right,
So-
at what cost? I'll take the 18 for $200, Alex, right? And that-
So, in the ad for the employment, what do you put down there then? You
A range.
put down,
You
arrange.
put a range.
Yeah.
You would put a range.
So, and one thing too, obviously, we can try this, and if these good folks can't control their spending, can't do their job, then we'll pull it back. We'll pull it back to us. I wouldn't have a problem pulling it back if I felt like it was out of control. And the folks that we have running our county couldn't do their job, well, I'd pull it
Yeah, I
back.
mean, they have budgets that they have to live within and
Right.
they understand that and they understand the job market and the people that they need to attract. And they know that sometimes there's a really good, really qualified candidate and they're not gonna get them to come at the starting wage. And we've approved so many of these since I've been on the board, these steps of, hiring new hires at a higher rate. But it's a time issue too. I might be able to get you a higher rate, but let's see, committees next week and then the board meetings the week after that. So I can let you know in a couple weeks
Yeah.
where I can hire you in at.
And oh, by the way, if you want to know my position, just tune in and you'll know what my offer is gonna be.
Right,
You know.
right,
good luck
right.
with the negotiation at that point.
Right.
That's just my opinion, my take.
Yeah, do understand you have the right to change this back. It's your policy. If it's not working. I think it shows open mind and I think it shows trust in your department heads and electeds. I know the board has granted, P.A. Barbary is coming to mind. I think when he came, maybe close to a year ago now, you gave him a range, he had the ability to hire up to a certain.
We had limits, right?
Yes, and I think this is that same argument. We trust our department heads and electeds. And there's a check and balance too, and you can go back.
Me personally, I trust our department heads and electeds. So I'm gonna put the onus on them. They have their budgets, they gotta work within their budgets. This is gonna be, to me, this is gonna be a telltale sign. To me, this is how you can really judge a person's ability to run a department. Whether it's a department, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a business, is how well you manage your payroll and who gets paid what. It really is a very real telltale sign of how well you can run a
I
department.
trust our elected officials and department heads. But I bet you're gonna find very few people coming in at the bottom of the pay grade anymore at the starting wage.
Oh, that
And
may
that's
be
gonna
true.
be at a disadvantage for all the people that maybe don't have the skills, but could still do the job and would move along.
So that just FYI, that gets me to succession plans, that gets me to cross-training and development. Again, if we start running into that problem in your department, I'm coming to you. What's the problem here? Why aren't you developing your people? Why aren't you cross-training your people to move into these new positions to make more money? That's where I would go. Again, I'm putting it back on them.
So you wanna make the motion then?
Sure.
Do you like that language? Do we need to
Yes.
massage that language? Do you want me to read it again?
Read it again, please.
Okay, I'm just gonna read those last two sentences. Authority to compensate newly hired employees at a rate different than the minimum of the pay range shall be vested with the department head or elected official. The administrator controller shall be informed in a timely manner and have the right to refuse the agreement.
That sounds.
So, okay.
Mhm.
So then if you move that, then I will, in your packet for Tuesday, I'll just have the same thing with the language struck and the new language in red, so it'll be clear to everybody
And
what's
we'll
changed.
bring it up for discussion at the full board
Yeah.
during the work session. Okay.
Well, if you move, it won't be discussion at that
The
point.
approval,
Yes, it'll be considered for approval,
Mm.
effective immediately.
we want,
You would want that to be
okay, do we want to go
immediate.
that
The whole
route?
point of waiting 2 weeks is the point why we're here, right?
Right.
So We want it effective
Okay.
immediately.
All right,
If
so,
the full board so chooses.
and we can have discussion then, we just will make the motion.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. you
We
have
could change it
discussion.
then either way.
You
I
sure
agree.
could.
I understand them. Okay.
Okay.
Would like to take consideration for changing our personnel manual for non-represented employees. Would be, what is this gonna be? Section what? I don't have that one. I got this. Section, whatever,
What's the one, section E.
section E, letter F
Hiring rates.
for the hiring rates, changing it to what Madam Administrator just read. To our regular, or to our work session Tuesday night.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to change the personnel manual for the hiring rate, section.
Mhm.
Any further discussion?
No.
All right, and I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna vote against this.
Mhm.
Because I think what we have is good. And I think there's all kinds of potentials for, additional costs and there's some disadvantages, so
Mhm.
it's been moved. Any other further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye, nay. It moves forward.
Thank you for bringing the issue to our attention. No, this just won't go away, will it?
Right, right.
It's all gonna get a little. Okay.
So
Hanging
now
out there.
we have the discussion regarding the county budget.
Hmm.
Well, today's the day, isn't it?
It is.
Today is D-Day.
Today is the day.
Today, yeah.
No, I voted last week.
Good for you.
Drop mine off Sunday. Yeah.
I went to the polls today out in Sherman Township. And the feedback that I'm getting. Boy,
They let you in?
I would love for this to pass. The feedback that I'm getting out in the western communities is, they're looking at 80-20 no, 90-10 no.
Wow, that's a message.
Was disappointed in that, but that's the sentiment, so.
Well, the information's out there. It's the voter that determines whether they're willing to pay additional, maintaining services, or become a leaner government entity with fewer services.
And it'll be quite a mandate if it's what they think it's gonna be. I mean,
But I think we'll be prepared. I know we have a internal committee looking at Plan B, which will be the cuts that we will make. And I feel real strong that we should probably come out with something initially within a week or two of the definite cuts we're going to make. And that means we have to rub elbows with the other commissioners to make sure everybody is on board, or I guess we'll do that at the meeting. But maybe talk one-on-one to see what their thoughts are.
Sure.
But I can tell you right now, as we know, as working on this committee, we haven't been able to identify enough cuts. So we've gone to the zero budgeting route. And
Build it up.
we're gonna start at the bare bones minimum and build up from that, which is gonna take a little bit longer. And so I think the information that we let out to the newspaper, any public media, is that, okay, these are cuts coming. Additional cuts will have to be made, and we're working on that, but we've heard the voters' wish in this regard, and we're gonna be responsible and transparent and do the best we can with the dollars that we have.
Well said.
I feel very confident in this process that we've gone through since I've been on the board, being open, upfront, putting it to the voters. I realize they're upset, maybe what happened in the past. But we could spend a lot of time on that if we wanted to, what happened in the past. But right now, we need to focus on right now and the next 6 years. If we want any kind of financial viability for this county, starting in 2031, we better get our stuff together now. So that's what we're focused on. And this exercise that we're going through, start with the zero-based budget, is going to create a model that will allow us to be as efficient as we possibly can. And if the taxpayers don't see that, well, that's on them, because I know when we get done with this, we are going to have a very efficient county government that is just what we need. There's no frills, no bells, no whistles. It will just be what we have to have in order to operate as a county government. So again, if the voters mandate that we make these changes, we're going to make them, and we're in that process, and I feel confident in the process. And by the time we get done with this at the end of the 6 years, we will prove to our voters here in Isabella County and the residents that we can run within our budget and control our money, and maybe hopefully in that process get their confidence back. I understand they don't trust us. So in this, we've got 4 years to really work at it, try to build that confidence back. So again, thank you.
Well,
You guys are looking at me, but you two kind of said it all. I don't know what to add to that. It's not gonna be fun, it's not gonna be pretty, but we'll do what we have to do.
and I know the public's reaction when we make these initial cuts, not even including the cuts down the road, is how could we have gotten in this situation? And you can throw the stones all day at the jail project, but it is something I firmly believe in my heart that we needed to do. For the safety of our correctional personnel and I guess for human dignity, even though these people maybe are guilty of a crime, they may not be guilty of a crime. We need to house them in a humane manner that protects them and their dignity. Other than that, I think we've given pay increases over the years, and that's where pay increases, fringe benefit cost increases, those are what's really been the sting, long-term sting to our budget. I can't think of anything we squandered on wastefully. I can maybe pick out a couple of small $5,000-$10,000 things, but that we could have or could not have done, but it made sense at the time. But we'll get there.
Yeah, I think our benefit cost increased 9% last year, right? 9%. And actually, we were fortunate because some places saw double-digit increases in their health benefits. So, I mean, cost of everything goes up. As far as the correctional facility, as you mentioned, eventually we were going to have to replace that facility. I mean, it's hobbling along, limping along, hoping it gets us until we have the new building. And the timing of it, if we hadn't done it then, it's only going to be more and more expensive the longer we waited. So it didn't make any sense to wait on that.
We want to add one thing, especially to our department heads and electeds. I know we are, as a group, we are committed to involving you in this process once the vote where we need to go. We've made it clear in our conversations that we are going to involve our department heads in these discussions. This isn't going to be just us saying, well, you got to cut this, and this. We want you to be involved and be involved in this process of making the adjustments that they're going to need to be made if this vote turns out that they turn down the village. So understand that. Realize we have maybe not been forthcoming in our conversations with you, but really, we felt it was best to keep a lot of these conversations close to the vest until we got a real understanding of how this vote's going to turn out. We didn't want to start out there and start a lot of, well, this could happen and we could do this or this or that. We just didn't feel that was appropriate. When we come to you, we're going to have some pretty hard numbers, and we're going to need for you to help us figure out how to achieve those numbers. And that's where the conversation really begins. So I hope you understand that. I do apologize that maybe we haven't been as forthcoming as maybe we could have, but really we didn't really have much choice from our perspective. Just please understand that. It was not done intentional. It's not to be malicious. It's not to be spiteful. It's we're not trying to hide anything, but we felt that in the best interest of everybody, keep it close to the vest for now. And the vote gives us the result, then we'll move forward from there, and we're bringing you into the fold immediately.
Tomorrow morning at 10.
Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.
So before we move on, is there any comment from any of you on the discussion about the budget? All right. Is there anything more to say on the on this until we know the outcome of the election? All right, we'll move down then to invoice list discussion. We have two lists, February 16th and February 23rd. I just want to check one thing. Wait, look at it. I just want to check one thing though.
I did have one thing too, so.
If you want to bring it up now, that's
Sure,
fine.
this has to do with our green scene landscaping and our snow removal. What did they say? They came up to $48,000 for all of them altogether.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah, I
right.
started-
That's,
I'm
seems
going,
here, are they,
a lot of buildings, a lot of
Yeah.
parking lots.
but was that all for the whole year? Did they bill for the whole year so far? Was that just one billing? For the big.
A big snowstorm?
I've been asking for monthly invoices, so we keep track, it's now some one big.
Yeah.
And we can all see what's coming, and I can much easier keep track of what
Right.
we've done.
Yep. And if we had to, we can compare apples to apples. We had to go out and look at other options in terms of what the rates are, what they're charging.
When I do my RFPs, I am looking at.
You are.
Anybody who'll come in and do it. The mowing and the groundskeeping, that part of it, the parks has been hired through the county to do, so
Okay.
they set their price, we pay them to mow our lawns.
Okay.
But the snow removal goes out in an RFP.
And how often does that go out? Once a year?
Year.
Does it? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the info.
Looking at the items that are 5,000 or more. I don't really have anything to question any of those. One of you gentlemen do?
I just have one question on the door replacement. Steve, do you know what doors were replaced here?
If you were at committee, you'd
The
know.
one in B and the Dublin C, these three big ones.
Okay,
They're rusting out and they're 15 years old, and they were, because when the door was slamming, they would smush. They were hard to get open
Mhm.
for fire safety, obviously.
oh, yeah.
The life you save could be ours.
And I do have one other.
They replaced those one morning.
I
when
did
we
have
were
a
in
question on
committee,
the
so
doors.
it's remarkable.
Were they aluminum frame?
These ones?
Yeah, the ones that were sticking?
Yes. The ones of steel.
'Cause I know I had a bathhouse or beach house in Clinton County for retired, beautiful building, but we put aluminum frame. And to get that sun exposure in the morning. And they expand and they got to be tough. We actually had a child that couldn't open up from the inside. And that may have been probably here with
What takes these out, most of it, Commissioner, is the salt. Salt in the winter time, you put it down, it gets up and along and thrown out there, it gets cracked on the threshold up against the door, and that's what rusted out probably the worst.
Really? Dang.
you have another question on the
Yep.
February 16th list?
Madam Parks Director, refresh my memory on the Hudson equipment and the John Deere equipment.
Oh, give me the totals.
6,599 to Hudson
Okay,
and then 22,962 to John Deere.
so we replaced the Gator and that was the.
Oh, the
John
Gator.
Deere purchase. And
Okay.
because the Gator was under budget, we submitted a in-house feasibility study on our trail grooming procedures.
Mhm.
And we decided to use the savings from the Gator purchase to purchase a track conversion set for the Gator so that we can phase out our snowmobile for grooming the trails. So it'll be safer. It'll be more efficient. We can use the tracks in snow and mud. And the snowmobile is just a less user-friendly, more
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, and this is no snow.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
You know, so we'll go to the Gator.
It's not snow here anymore.
I don't know. So, yeah, why not use the gator and have an ability to take care of the trails?
Yeah, and
Okay.
for mud conditions in the spring especially, this would be a good tool too, so it's multi-seasonal, opposed to the snowmobile, so that's
I like
what
it.
those two.
Good use of money.
Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alexis, I hadn't thought about this earlier, but you might check with MMRMA to see if they've got a RAP grant that might pay for part of the tracks, just because it's such a safer option.
They do reimburse, right?
Right, so I don't know if that's a standard grant or not, but it's worth checking.
I'll send them my snowmobile fatality facts. today.
There you go. She had an aggressive, that was an aggressive in-house feasibility study.
Well, when they first.
Very aggressive.
When they, Kurt Bernier brought it to me and I just thought, okay, it seems like a good idea, but is it a necessary expense? And then when we looked at the long term, it just made a lot more sense.
Really does. Yeah, understood. Good. Well done. Thank you, ma'am.
Spending smart money.
Any other questions or comments on the February 16th list?
Nope. That was it for
Move
me.
on to the February 23rd list. So on the 44 North, what was the monthly amount that we were gonna be able
What's
to
our goal,
gain?
our target?
Yeah.
This is like.
Something
I think
or
it's-
less to be able to save money on our prescriptions and
Well, I feel like the first monthly was, that shocked us was like
Is it
90.
The 90-day
90,000.
thing. Well, but
Yeah.
it's also based on because of the 90-day
Yes,
purchase.
yes, it was.
right.
So I know we're trending under that now. Let me do some quick math here to see what a monthly amount would be.
Well, you-
Around 60 grand a month would be maybe what we've budgeted.
these couple of months right here are pretty good then.
So why is it
35 and
two
29.
months on there for the,
They were behind.
they were, okay.
I had some of the same thing.
Oh, so the billing was slow. That's so they ended up on the. Okay.
Those are good,
We're
good
saving,
numbers.
we're saving some money then in this process. We were a little worried in the beginning that might be a wash or.
Right, but
savings.
it seems like last year it was those injectables that
Oh,
were
so-
causing our issue. And so once the plan change was made to only cover those medically necessary,
Mhm.
those costs did drop.
So this list has over $3.25 million, but most of them are in and out monies to community schools and intermediate schools, so. I see there is 27,743
Ooh.
foreclosure tax proceeds. That's something that was over and above you had to give back, right?
Collectively, do it, send it out, yeah.
So, with the revolving delinquent tax fund, are we still we're making some interest dollars and some fee dollars, but is it amounting to very much?
It's better than what it was, put it that way.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
But this isn't out of delinquent tax.
Right.
This is out of,
No,
This is, I don't know.
Proceeds of the sale.
this is your
Okay.
foreclosure.
No, it's talking about the proceeds.
Oh, those
Oh,
ones.
123.
Oh,
27,000.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
surplus.
right.
But they get that.
And that's out of the PA 123.
It's enough to pay the staff bills in the department and still add a little bit to your fund. That maybe won't be going out.
Yeah.
If we had been able to keep the surplus, that surplus would have stayed in PA 123 as well, not delinquent tax, correct? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's separate fund entirely.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
okay.
two
Alright.
separate pieces. Delinquent tax, they're in it, they're paying interest and penalties, there's
Yep.
no, no F word yet, right? Over here is foreclosure, once you're in it, that kind of all stays over here in this PA 123 bucket.
You would think after 10 years, I'd know the difference, right?
Okay.
Oh,
Changes.
this is why I asked
Change
clarifying, yeah,
Not us.
it changes.
Other questions or comments on this set of bills?
Nope. I don't think I had anything.
All right.
Nope.
Thank you all for being here, very helpful.
We'll move on then
Yes,
to
very much.
announcements.
Put out there.
Any announcements? None?
Sir.
Call the public one final time.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks for bringing the, the hiring issue, forward. That we We have, in my office, lost a couple candidates recently over this. We're really struggling. It takes us 2-3-4 weeks to come in front of the board. I don't remember in my 30 years, this August, of being with the county, of ever seeing them. The board deny one of these come through. And for us to lose those candidates, it's very difficult. I would also add that the language that you put forward, a timely manner, like what is a timely manner? Should that maybe be prior to us making an offer? Because if it's timely, you know, like I would want administrator approval to move forward with my offer prior to me making an offer. I would hate to make an offer and come through and likely
That would be the
would
timely
happen
part.
maybe,
But it could.
but it could, right?
Yeah,
It's
mhm. Language
I
allows
think
for
it
it.
would help, I think it would help the applicant
Feel
to not
confident.
see the words timely
Right.
manner, and me say, I gotta take this upstairs,
Mm.
timely manner, I gotta do it,
Right.
so just bear with me, I might hire you. So I would just consider defining a timely manner or requiring, department heads and elected officials to bring that forward and get administrator authorization
Prior to the offer.
us making an offer.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you trying to change my vote?
Yeah. I would expect him to.
Any other public comment?
I just want to say, I know Chris, you had mentioned that, in the past and go forward. But I don't think you can do that. I think you need to understand what happened in the past,
And not
to
repeat
get
it.
us to here in order to be able to correct it going forward.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of things that we've done in the past that we may not do now, but I think we need to keep that.
Don't forget the
in
past.
conscience.
Right, I don't mean to forget the past. No, agree. But I can't do anything about the past.
But
Other than
learn.
learn from it.
Right.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
For the final opportunity, public comment.
Yes,
Oh, we have our register of deeds, Karen Jackson.
Karen.
Karen.
Oh, I was.
so my comment is that for years, the low starting wage, in reference to the technical duties that are required for our job, has kept us on the outskirts of the competitive job market, frequently ending up with us having to accept the only person that applied or that would accept the job who was a non-motivated candidate that didn't end up staying anyway. We ended up with one. We've had some very good candidates. We have been very lucky in some cases. We've also had a candidate that stayed 5 hours and never came back, never called, never did anything.
Oh, you're so personal,
Buddy.
Karen. Stop.
And I think that that is one of the problems that you have when you are not allowed to have that flexibility.
Mhm.
We can see the difference when we do the interviews. You can see the difference. You can see the engagement when you interview those individuals. You can tell that you have a motivated candidate and a non-motivated candidate. Knowing that you have those restrictions and I'm only allowed to hire this person in at that bottom wage, knowing that this person is never going to do more than what they absolutely have to, those are not the people that we need moving forward. I know that. But if I'm restricted to only doing that, that's the only candidate that I can bring in. And that doesn't do our group any good. It really doesn't. It doesn't do my office any good. It takes the energy of all of us trying to train that person because they really don't want to be here. They're only here for the benefit. And that doesn't enable any of us. And I think that if we could continue to grow on that and allow us to make some additional decisions in the way that we move people forward. We don't move anybody forward in a very positive manner. It seems like people are rewarded whether they're motivated or non-motivated in the same manner. The way that our wage structure is, And we can say, well, we don't have to move someone forward. But in a way, someone is expecting to move forward after they've been here for a year. Even if they haven't made a lot of an advancement, they expect you to tell them, oh, well, we want you to make this advancement. And then, you know, they'll make corrections. They'll say they're going to make corrections, but then the next year you're talking to them about those same things that they haven't done. But they expect to get that raise. It seems like it would be behoove us much more if we were allowed to give raises to those ones who are motivated and are trying to advance, instead of just giving that as a year and setting that rate as a year, that it was set on accomplishments or something within the office that office has set up as their guidelines. Obviously, you can't just have willy-nilly, but each office has certain guidelines that we expect our employees to achieve at that 6-month level, at a year level, or wherever. And if that individual hasn't achieved those, I don't think that they should just advance at a year. If they're not getting it, they're not getting it. Maybe they need some more help. But there are some people that don't care to get it and don't want to get it. And so I agree to disagree with Jerry on the one idea, and I think that is because we are interacting with those individuals, we see that spark or that lack of spark. And we know who's going to advance in our office and who's not going to advance in our office. And that's all I have to say about that. But in order to get all of us to move to a more sustainable future, we need those good employees, those people that are motivated and want to help us move forward.
I'll be super short and sweet. I was just thinking as she was talking, this, not even specifically what the outcome of this is, but just the thought process of making this faster, more flexible, a more nimble process for the directors and the board and the administrator. I think we can look at a lot of other processes and maybe start towards that to save time and money for everybody countywide.
We're gonna have to. We're not gonna have any choice in this.
I'll have one last thing, if that's all right.
Mhm.
So we talked about this when I came a couple of weeks ago to criminal justice. You know, sometimes I think we intermingle the attraction of employees with the longevity or the retainment of those employees. Commissioner Jasinski brought up the idea of, you know, if you hire them up at pay 2 or 3, they only got 2 years and they're going to leave. Our system is only set up for employees to stay here for 5. After your retirement, you can walk with your county's compensation or the county's portion of that after 5 years. At the top of 5 years, the scale is over. Nobody in the organization after 5 years anymore has anything to work towards. So this piece, I think.
Personal Wellness Bank,
There's
we have
one.
one, we're going in the right direction.
But this idea of changing this part of it helps us attract those employees, helps us be able to negotiate to find the best employee, knowing that at that 5-year mark, they're going to potentially go on us. I think we have to work towards the retainment of those employees too at some point.
And that gets.
I sort of was pushing this a little bit along at the committee a couple of weeks ago and saying, you know, we can wait on the retainment piece. We really got to get the attraction piece, because if we can't hire them, it doesn't matter on the retainment. But we still have to work at retainment, whether it's longevity considerations for employees, whether it's, I think Commissioner Engler talked about maybe spreading the scale out a little bit and doing some of the things that Karen was just talking about, is having the ability for it not to be an annual function, but some other function of incentive for an employee to stick around. Because 5 years, we barely got them trained in 5 years. And if you hire somebody above that at the 3 year and they're here 2, now they're saying to themselves, okay, I'm at the top of the scale, making no more money. Do I ride it out 3 more years so I can take my 7% that the county contributes to my retirement? Or do I cut bait now and hit the road and find a better job? You know, so we're just not, we've been talking about attraction and retainment since about 2015 when we did the Siegel Water study. We haven't done a whole lot except for lately. We've changed PTO things. We've done the wellness bank. We've done some things to get us there. I think we still need to really work at those things to help us find the best of the best, and then retain them as long as we can possibly retain.
I think it's gonna get back to a conversation we've been having amongst ourselves, just to be upfront with you. This concept of, you have a budget. And it's gonna be up to you to make it work. We'll set the budget. We know how much money we got coming in. We know what we're gonna give you to work with. My feeling, I know we've talked with some of the members of the board that feel that should fall to you. You decide how you're gonna spend it, and make it work. You gotta make it work, because we only have so many dollars. So it's gonna, you know your business. That's my feeling. That's the way I would do it, because that puts the person with the most experience and the most knowledge and the best person to make that decision, puts them in that, gives them that responsibility. And that's my opinion. I know some of the other commissioners feel the same way. So it is, we have been having conversations, so you know.
And I think we need to, I think the board, you know, should consider goals for us, because you can throw money at us, but if we don't know what your goal is and which services you want us to lean the highest towards or lean a little further away from, that amount of service, that level of service we provide service, we need that real goal setting, so we can establish some policies moving forward to be able to spend that money that would be budgeted to us.
On the flip side of that, what I'm used to,
Mhm.
is people coming to me with their goals to do just what you're saying, as opposed to us dictating to you. You come to me, tell me, you know your business, you know where to make money and how to make money, and you see the level of service that you have. Well, I think I need to do this in order to improve this level of service. And I tend to turn that around and ask you guys to bring that to us, and then we'll negotiate that from there, depending on how it affects the budget.
And yeah, I don't, that's a great way of thinking about it, but the county board is a policymaking board. If we don't know what your policies are, other than you throw down a bunch of money in front of us to spend, we don't know what your policies are. I might think something is more important that your constituents think is less important.
Right.
And so.
That's where the negotiation.
Yeah, so I think that's where we need to, you know, kind of work together in that and have these goal, we had a goal setting session a number of years ago at the old Commission on Aging building, where.
Oh, wow, that was a while ago.
Commissioner, it was a while ago. We sat at a commissioner, it was on a Saturday, it was. We weren't all happy about being in on a Saturday, but we had a commissioner at every table, and I thought it was a great discussion. We talked about, you know, what our offices perform and what we do, because not everybody knows, not just commissioners, but, you know, other departments don't exactly know all the minutia of the things that we do within my office per se. And we came out of there, I thought, with some really good goals and some policy statements and how we meet those goals as a group together. I totally understand the financial end, and we're gonna have to figure that out. But if I can set your goal is, I'm gonna be.
You can't make that fit.
You know, and they might not be the
Yes.
same, so
Right.
we need to just work together.
Goal setting session will do that.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Agreed.
Good discussion.
Thank you.
Unless there's somebody else, we're gonna adjourn this meeting at 12:21.
Sorry. for my
Thank you.
long-windedness.
No problem. Good.